This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast
With Tony Brueski.
We are talking about the recent settlement in the case of the boat crash involving Alex Murdaugh's son, Paul, and the death of Mallory Beach. Just the other week, Parker's Convenience Store settling that. They were being held accountable for selling alcohol to a minor, although he did use a valid ID that did show he was over 21. The problem was it was his brother's. Now they are finding themselves paying the family $15 to $20 million, a very large settlement. And I'm happy, I should say, that they are getting a settlement out of this. My issue comes into culpability on this, and I don't think it really lies very heavily on Parker's as it does the Murdaugh family. What's your thoughts?
I think so. I'm a former prosecutor. Now I'm a civil plaintiff's lawyer. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, you have this the civil lawsuit, right? A wrongful death case. Who are you going to really collect from? I don't know how much money Alex Murdaugh has. I'm sure he spent a lot on lawyers. He was obviously came from a very wealthy, prominent family there in South Carolina. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's pretty broke. And even if he's not, there's a lot of creditors lined up. People that he ripped off, people that he stole money from. We kind of see it right now. I'm here in LA, Tom Girardi, right? There's a receiver appointed and people are getting pennies on the dollar. So I don't know how much you can get from him, number one. And two, your theory of negligence, right, is that, Alex, provided alcohol to his underage son. There's not a sort of vicarious liability in that case, right? So, you're trying to get money from Alex. I don't know how much money the son has, frankly, to his name. Obviously, he's the most responsible for this death. And then you also sued, the liquor store. So, each state's a little bit different, but, South Carolina doesn't have dram shop laws, at least not to my understanding. Dram shop laws would insulate, liquor stores and so forth from liability. So, you're really trying to get as much money as you can from Paul. I'm assuming, a kid who was that young, or he's still, I believe, only 19. He was obviously younger when this death happened. I don't think he's got a whole lot of money. Dad's probably not got a whole lot of money, and not a really great theory of negligence against him. You're going after the liquor store as well. So, all in all, $15 million, given some of the collectability issues in this case, certainly not enough to bring a loved one back, but probably a good result for the plaintiffs, in my opinion, if they actually get paid.
Sure. How at fault truly is Parker's, though? And I'm not trying to justify anybody selling alcohol to minors, but on the surface, they did seem to do their job. They did ID the person. He did have a fake ID. They believe it was probably his brother's, and it was a valid, real ID. The two look very much alike. What more could Parker's really have done to insulate themselves from something like this happening if they really did do everything, and it is on camera that they did, do to prevent selling alcohol to a minor?
Yeah, in terms of obviously the culpable parties, they're going to be the least culpable. I'm sure they were sued because they were a deep pocket. I know they were upset. This was supposed to be a confidential settlement, and they came out and said that they're disappointed that this didn't come out. But again, my understanding is they had the mom's credit card, right? Like you said, that they verified the age. So in terms of the culpable parties, how culpable really are they? And if they are, their percentage of liability has to be much, much lower than Paul's or even Alex's in this situation. But how lawyers are. They sue everyone, and if there's someone that has an ability to pay, like Parker's, they're going to be dragged into the lawsuit. But it's just a question of how much are they paying versus the Murdochs and their insurance companies.
The fact that they did have an agreement there saying that would not be disclosed, but now it has been disclosed, does that put any sort of kink into any of this as far as a payout or any sort of repercussions go?
Potentially. They could potentially, depends what the settlement agreement says. Sometimes they'll say that they'll be like liquidated damages, or maybe even a basis to unwind and rescind the agreement. Confidentiality is really important, especially for these corporate defendants. That being said, given how high profile this death was and some of the bad publicity, I think they're just happy to be done with this case and to just get out, because being dragged through a wrongful death lawsuit with the Murdochs, there's going to be a lot of bad media attention on them in a case like this. And I think both for business and legal reasons, they probably want it out, and they'll take it, even though the terms of the settlement were made public when they shouldn't have been.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast
with Tony Brueski